Welcome to a brand new development vlog for Promotion Wars 2024. I'm Adam Jennings, and this one is all about the data pack editor. It's one thing to add all these new features to the game, but at some point I have to make sure the editor catches up with all that, because that's what you're going to be using to create the data packs that the game uses. Without the editor, there is no game. So I've been giving this a lot of focus over the last month or so, and today I'm going to give you an overview of the new things. So straight off the bat, you can see there's a new screen size. It matches the game itself. That was requested on the forum because when some people use the old editor on a laptop, the screen wasn't fitting fully on their laptop screen, which I'm sure is very frustrating, but that's a problem of the past now. If you can play the game okay, you can use the editor okay. It's the same size. And it's changed this black color scheme to fit in with the default scheme of Promotion Wars 2024. Now let's get started. Now the main work that I've done is on the wrestlers screen, so let's take a look at that now. Now this view looks mostly the same, but there's a few new things here. One of them is multi-select mode. This was requested on the forums, and when we select it, there's now tick boxes down next to all the people, so we can select certain ones, and what we can do is change all the selected ones to a certain promotion, such as making them all free agents, which is what was requested on the forum. You can also put them to any of the other promotions in the game. Or you can delete the ticked ones. So it speeds things up a bit for you if you want to do something to a lot of wrestlers at the same time. Also new to this screen is tag teams and stables. I won't spend too long on these because I've did a whole video on them. Just look on the channel and you'll see how they're featured in the game in 2024. But this is the editing side of it. It's much the same. Click on a team, you can enter their name, change who's in it, choose the talker, make them exclusive to a promotion, give them a finisher, select all the details for it. It's all pretty much covered in the other video on the channel. And stables, much the same. If you watch the video on the channel on tag teams and stables, you'll know exactly what to expect. This just lets you enter all the information that shows in the game. And the final new thing on this screen is there's a lot more things added to these filters to help you when you're editing, take into account the new things like loans, no compete clauses, guest stats, I'll get onto that. You have all the new countries. Semi-retired. Behind the scenes. Loads of new stuff for you to find exactly what you want to find. So let's go into a wrestler, see what we can do. And this is a good chance to show you if you don't already know. If you type in a name that someone is known as up here, like Dolph Ziggler, you get Nick Nemeth in the list, their current name. So here is the new screen full of all the new stats, and just as a comparison, here is what it looks like in the current editor for the 21st anniversary edition. And back to this. If you have the current version of the editor, then you'll know that in August last year a lot of things were added to it, like the birthplace, date of birth, weight, height, debut year, and division. All that stuff wasn't yet used by the current game, but I put it into the editor last year so that all the data packs created since then will have all the information ready for when Promotion Wars 2024 launches. And on a side note, I looked up all those stats, date of birth, height, weight, debut year, etc. for the whole 2,500 plus wrestlers in the data pack in the early months of last year. It was a hell of a lot of work, but it will be worth it. And in Promotion Wars, you don't need to put those stats in if you don't want to. What the game will do is create an estimate, and if it's done that, then it will know and it can hide that information from you when you're playing the game. So you don't get in a situation where you haven't got to wait for Dolph Ziggler, so the game has estimated maybe £250, and then you play the game and you see his profile and it says he's £250. You think, well, that's stupid. Of course he isn't £250. What it'll do, it will use £250 in the background, but when it shows you his stats on the screen, you won't see the weight unless it's been entered as a definite thing. And that applies for height, date of birth, all that stuff, all the new stuff. If you remember a moment ago on the filters, you could filter by people who had guessed date of birth, guessed weight, guessed height. That's what it is. So you can easily bring those up and see which ones have these guessed stats. Maybe you want to replace that with the actual ones. And you remember how we typed in Dolph Ziggler and it came up with Nick Nemeth? This is how that happens. So anything you type there, if the player searches for the text you put here, then this person will come up. And you can see here all the new areas the game has. And then here we have all our stats, the new stats. And just like before, when you highlight them, you get a compare button. So you can click there and see everyone else and how they compare for that stat. And one last thing on the guest stats. If we click on the date of birth for Nick Nemeth, you'll see there's now a box saying this is an estimate, will not be visible to the player. So if you tick that, it will hide this information from the game, but still use it in the background. So if you're not sure, you take a wild guess, don't worry, the player will never see it, unless they load it into the data pack editor. Now here you see that it says Handshake Deals, New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's come across from the old editor style, where people can work multiple promotions as a free agent. That's all been updated now. And for Nick Nemeth and Kushida, they were in a unique situation where they were contracted to both TNA and New Japan Pro Wrestling. We can now put that in the game properly. So next to their contracted promotion, there's now a plus. Click on there, and we just choose New Japan. And now if you take control of TNA, then you'll have Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth contracted to you. If you take control of New Japan, you will also have Nick Nemeth contracted to you. Now you may have just seen before we did that, it said about a loan here, so let's get rid of that. And you can see it says add a loan deal. So currently in the game, you can book wrestlers from another promotion for one-off shows if you have a relationship with that promotion. A loan deal takes it a bit further, and you can set a wrestler to be on loan to you from another promotion for a set period of time. It could be a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever you want it to be. So from the editor, if you're setting that up to start in your data pack, just click on there and just choose the end date of that deal and who they're loaned to. So maybe you want to put Nick Nemeth with New Japan Pro Wrestling on a loan deal until October. So the game starts May. He'll be working for New Japan until October, so TNA won't be able to use him, and then in October he'll come back to the TNA roster. a couple more things about contracts. The role here was always a choice of upper, mid and lower card, and then in 21st Anniversary Edition I added non-wrestling role, and in Promotion Wars 2024 comes behind the scenes as an option. So these are people that are contracted to you, but their role is not part of the show that we can see. It's off camera, so they won't care if they're not included in the shows. They're still employed, they're still getting paid, they're doing their job, and it doesn't involve being on the show. But they're available to you if you want to bring them in front of the camera, give them a wrestling role, give them a non-wrestling role, whatever you like. In addition to that, the contract can now be set to be a part-time contract. Think like Brock Lesnar, John Cena during his little stint. So these people as well won't get too annoyed if they're not on the show every single week. They might get annoyed if they're not used for a long period of time, but they don't need to be booked as frequently as full-time contracted wrestlers. And on a similar note, retirement now, you can make them semi-retired, so they too will not expect to be used as much as normal, but they are still wrestling occasionally. Division I talked about a bit in the new roster screen video for Promotion Wars 2024, but basically you set up to 10 divisions for your promotion, and you can put your wrestler into one of those divisions if you want to, and it helps you to organize yourself when you're booking. Maybe you want to just look at the cruiserweight division, tag team division, something like that. And as I showed in the roster screen video, you can kind of use it to show custom rankings for certain divisions. Ring styles, yes, plural. In case you haven't heard already, you can now have up to 3 ring styles per wrestler. And the selection of ring styles has been completely revamped and modernized. So if you click on here, it's automatically pulled through Nick Nemeth as a heavyweight, which is one of the new styles from what they had before. So you can choose from any of these ones up to 3. So I'd probably make him a high flyer and probably a showman as well. You don't have to give him 3, you can have 2, 1, it's up to you. And now we see them down here. We've looked at things for contracted people. Now what about free agents? For this part, I'd like to welcome to the stage Mr. Jinder Mahal, aka Raj Desi, who is currently a free agent, and in real life he's currently sitting out a no-compete clause, but Promotion Wars up until now has never been able to represent that. That all changes in Promotion Wars 2024. For any free agents, it will say add a no-compete clause. So click on there. Just enter the date when they'll be free, which we know for Jinder is the 20th of July. How do I know that? Because it's the date of TNA's next pay-per-view, Slammiversary. And obviously, he's going to show up as a surprise. We also need to say who released him, WWE, because they obviously will not be restricted by this no-compete clause. If they wanted to, they could sign him back today. So there he is. No-compete clause until 20th of July. Lesson to be learned here, do not hinder the Jinder. The other thing for free agents is handshake deals. So this is a new thing for Promotion Wars 2024. It's only for free agents, and what it means is you can select a number of promotions here, any number you like, and if the player takes control of any of these, then they'll gain this wrestler on their roster as a handshake deal, not a proper contract, just a handshake deal, so they can be signed away at any time by another promotion. Now the final new thing for wrestlers is almost 60 new attributes. What are attributes? Basically, a big list of things, and you can attach any number of these things to this wrestler, and it helps identify them, helps make them unique, helps make them act like they would in real life, how we would expect them to act. Maybe they have a bad attitude, maybe they start fights, maybe they have a drug problem. There's all kinds of things here that should allow you to create data packs that reflect reality. So if you sign this one wrestler, you're getting this unique wrestler with all his personality, all his problems. There's no one else like him. Every person means more in Promotion Wars 2024. What a great little tagline that is. I'm not going to read them all out, but I'll scroll through, so if you want to see them all, use the power of technology to watch in slow-mo or pause or whatever. So that's it for the wrestler side. Just a couple more things to show you in the editor, and then we're done. Let's talk C-shows. So in August last year, Promotion Wars had a change in the structure of its weekly shows. So it had A shows and B shows, and the lower level shows like Main Event, Dark Elevation, they disappeared from your view, but really they were moved into another place in the game in preparation for Promotion Wars 2024, where there would be C shows. So how C shows are going to work? You can have 2 C shows in your promotion, and basically they are taped before your A shows. So they're not their own shows in their own right. You won't book a venue especially for them. You won't get ratings or viewership for them. What they are is just a few matches that you can, if you want to, add on while you're booking your A show. If you've played the SmackDown vs. Raw PlayStation 2 GM mode, then you'll know when you go to book Raw, you get the option to book a few matches for Heat as well. Same thing here, and it's optional. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. How many matches you book is up to you. It's probably going to be between 1 and 5 that you can do, and I'll probably bring back the auto book button for that show like I did before for the C shows, where it just chooses at random some of your lower carders to have matches. And the purpose of this is just to give your lower card wrestlers some experience, help them develop and keep their morale up. And while we're on this screen, you may have noticed that the names of the TV coverage options have been updated to streaming platforms. National TV/major streaming platform, aka Netflix, in preparation for 2025. Now, if you're playing this or you're editing a data pack that started before about 2005, then what you see there is local TV, regional TV, national TV. So you're not going to see streaming platforms in 1986. Now, before I show you the final big improvement in the editor, I'm going to need to show you how it is in the current editor, the 21st anniversary edition. So it's when you click on this button here to check your promotion files. So this is the same data pack that I've got open in the new editor. Let me show you both ways, okay? So this is the old way, the current way. You click on check now, click yes. Click again, wait for the next one. Each promotion shows us 2 windows. Doing a lot of clicking. It's taking a long time. It's very annoying. I'm sure everyone that's used this data pack editor hates this feature. is still going on now. It's taking forever. And still going. And we're done. Okay. Now let's look at the new version. And now I'll show you the exact same data pack, the exact same button in the new editor. And there we go. That's it. So as you can see in the new editor, it's showing the information in a very different way. It will show you all the errors, all the warnings for all the promotions in the file, all in one list. And you can keep this minimized while you go off and make the changes if there's any errors to fix. And then just close it when you're done. But just so you can see it a bit better, I'll show you one with a few different warnings and errors. So here I've got another data pack that I'm checking, and it's got 4 errors and 118 warnings. So the warnings are things that don't stop you saving the data pack, and it's fixed them in some way. Like the promotion owner job title is not valid, so it set its own job title to head of AGPW. So if you want to, you just leave it as that. And maybe a logo file isn't found, so it changes the logo to none. But then there's other things that are errors. They're marked up in red, and they do prevent the thing being saved. So for GCW, we've got 2 weekly shows on the same day, which is a big no-no. A couple more errors down here. Title range is not valid. Date 1 is not a valid date. And you can sort these by clicking on the column headers. So if you want to click on the type, you get all the warnings together and all the errors together, or you can click on the promotion and order it by that. So that's the new way for checking the promotions, instead of going through all those clicks that you saw in the current version. And that brings us to a close for this development vlog, giving a good look at the many changes that are in the Datapack editor, which also give you an insight into the many changes that are in the game itself. And there's a lot more to tell you yet that you don't know. So stick around, keep following the vlogs. I'll be making a blog of this a bit later, probably on Sunday, probably tomorrow, which is Sunday. So look out for that if you like to have a version to read as well. Follow the socials, subscribe to the channel, let me know your thoughts, and know that this game and this editor are coming your way completely free towards the end of the year. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.